Long before the American colonies fired a single musket to fight for their independence, a very different kind of spark had to be lit. That spark was an idea. Hi, I'm host A. Let's travel back to the 1700s. This was a century where the way people looked at everything, from the stars in the sky to the laws on the ground, began to shift in ways that had never happened before. You can think of this era as the Age of the Head, or what historians call the Enlightenment. This diagram illustrates what the Enlightenment was all about. Think of it as humanity discovering a new tool: logic. People began to realize they could use their brains and scientific observation to solve problems, instead of simply doing whatever kings or traditions told them to do. Think about Benjamin Franklin. He applied this new approach by studying lightning and electricity. He observed nature closely to figure out how it actually worked, rather than accepting old stories about the weather. Around this same time, an English writer named John Locke applied this exact same logic to human life itself. Look at this outline of a person. Locke argued that every single person is born with a built-in protective shield of rights, like the right to live and the right to be free. He called these natural rights, meaning you get them simply because you are human. This stood in sharp contrast to how life had operated for centuries. Across the ocean in Europe, the law was usually whatever a monarch decided. If you disagreed, the heavy weight of the crown would crush you. The Enlightenment showed people that facts, evidence, and human rights should carry more weight than the demands of an absolute ruler. Parents and teachers, this is a great moment to pause the video. Take a minute to discuss what you think it means to have a natural right that no one can take away. Hello, I'm host B. While all that new thinking was happening in the head, something equally powerful was happening in the heart. A spiritual revolution was taking place at the exact same time. In the 1730s and 40s, a surge of religious energy reached into every corner of the colonies. This was the Great Awakening, a time when thousands of people began to focus on their personal feelings and faith. A new group of energetic ministers began to travel the countryside. The most famous of them was an Englishman named George Whitefield. Instead of speaking inside quiet, traditional church buildings, Whitefield took his message outside. He would stand on a simple stump in a wide open field and project his voice to anyone who would listen. And people certainly listened. Thousands of everyday colonists traveled miles to stand shoulder to shoulder in these fields to hear him speak. As you can see, Whitefield preached that a farmer could connect directly with the divine. You didn't need a wealthy bishop for spiritual peace. When ordinary people realized they could talk to the divine without a permission slip, they felt a new inner strength. So as the brain was waking up to science and reason, the heart was catching fire with a new, deeply personal faith. Both movements were teaching everyday people to trust their own moral compass. Parents and teachers, let's pause here for a moment. Ask your kids how they think a person might feel after realizing they have the power to make their own choices about what they believe. Host A and Host B here together. When we look closely at these two historical events, one focused on logic and the other on faith, we find they arrived at the exact same destination. This diagram brings it together. Logic of the Enlightenment on the left, faith of the Great Awakening on the right. If you use your mind to question a king's rules and your heart to choose your spiritual path, the ultimate authority belongs to you. This change in how people felt and thought prepared the American colonies for the challenges ahead. It gave regular farmers, merchants, and families the confidence to trust their own judgment and stand up for what they knew was right. By 1776, this confidence would echo across the 13 colonies, growing into a unified call for complete independence from Great Britain. Because once people learn they are capable of running their own minds and guiding their own faith, they soon realize they are fully capable of running their own country. Parents, for our final pause, ask your learners how believing in yourself can give you the courage to stand up to unfair rules. Thanks for watching.